Our today's lesson is Introduction to Integral Calculus. So ang objective natin is that at the end of this lesson, the student should be able to apply basic principles of integral calculus. Here's the definition. So integration is the reverse process of differentiation. So that's the reason why it is also known as antiderivative. So tatanggalin ni integration ang derivative para maibalik into its original function. So meron tayong dalawang types, indefinite and definite. So indefinite integrals are integrals na unbounded. So this contains arbitrary constant. So yung definite naman, so from the word definite, defined. So bounded yung integral mo. So therefore, ang answer natin ay constant. So punta tayo sa symbols and notation. So integral of f of x dx is equal to big letter f of x plus c. So this is ang simple ano lang nito, sasagutin niya ang tanong na anong function ang merong derivative na f of x dx. So ang sagot natin is big letter f of x plus c. So bakit tayo laging nagkakaroon ng plus c? Kasi nga, ang derivative ng constant ay laging 0. So, hindi natin alam. So, since indefinite siya, hindi natin alam kung anong constant ang tinutukoy pagka ni-reverse natin yung process. Kasi nga, pag kinuha natin ang derivative ni x squared plus 3 and ni x squared minus 7, parehas lamang siyang 2x. So, if this 2x dx ang kinuhanan natin ng integral or pag ni-reverse natin yung process, so ang makukuha natin is x squared. Plus what? So based kanina, pwede siyang maging 3, pwede siyang maging negative 7. So since hindi natin alam, instead of writing a defined constant, ilalagay na lang natin siya as an arbitrary constant. So, kasi there are infinite number of constants na ang derivative ay 0. So, that's why we are always putting a plus c when we talk of indefinite integrals. So, ano naman yung definite? So, from the word kanina, it is bounded integrals. So, ibig sabihin, bounded siya ng lower limit at saka ng upper limit na b. So, ang gagawin lang natin dyan, it is equal to the integral itself. Yung sagot kanina, it's just like f of x. So, this time, wala na tayong arbitrary constant kasi i-define na yung ating sagot ng ating lower limit at saka ng upper limit. So, how do we evaluate this upper and lower limit? So, ang gagawin lang natin is that, isa-substitute natin yung upper limit dun sa integral, minus, isa-substitute natin yung lower limit. So, that will be our answer. So, ano ba yung mga symbols na yan? Ano yung tinutukoy na yan? So, integral is actually, the integral sign is actually that parang S. So, galing yan sa English letter S, which means sum. So, si f of x dx is actually the derivative of the function. So, it is also known as integrand. So, ang tawag sa kanya, integrand. Siya yung derivative ng function na hinahanap natin. So, si x is the variable of integration. So, ito yung original function na hinahanap na ang derivative ay yung integrand natin. So, that's why it is called integral or the indefinite integral or the unknown function. So ito yung ina-affix natin kapag ka-indefinite ang integral. So that's an arbitrary constant c. So upper limit is b and the lower limit is a. So yan yung mga symbols and notation para sa indefinite and definite integrals. So here are the basic properties that we need to know. So, ang una is yung definition natin. So, di ba, as per definition, integral is actually the reverse process lang ng diffcal. So, ang gagawin natin is parang ika-cancel out lang natin yung integral and derivative. So, anti-derivative. So, eliminating derivative through the process of integration. So, since na-eliminate na, ang matitira na lang ay yung function of x inside that bracket. So, that gives you an f of x plus an arbitrary constant c since we are talking of indefinite dito dahil wala tayong lower and upper limit. So, here are the examples. So, integral of dz is equal to z plus c. So, again, basically, kina-cancel out lang natin ang integral and derivative. So, that is simply z plus c. So, for letter B, integral of d theta is equal to, of course, theta plus c. So, canceling integral and derivative. So, for letter C, integral of the derivative of the quantity x cubed minus 2x. So, again, integral and derivative cancels out, gives you x cubed minus 2x is equal to x cubed minus 2x plus c. You do not forget to add a c. So, for letter D, integral of the derivative of ln of sine x. So, I presume alam mo na ang sagot. That is simply ln of x plus c. How about derivative of integral? So, di ba, ang sabi natin, integral and derivative cancels out. So, if the integral is the reverse process ng diffcal, same is true with derivative, ang reverse process niya ay yung integral. So, ano lang ang mangyayari dito? So, this time, since nahuli or naunang pre-process ang integral dito, so, syempre, pag nag-integral tayo, di ba, we are affixing c. And since ang susunod mong gagawin ay kukunin mo ang derivative, meaning to say, mawawala na yung plus c. So therefore, the answer is simply x ln x plus 5 raised to cosecant of x. So wala nang plus c kasi kinuhanan mo na yung derivative nung c doon. So again, derivative and integral cancels out. So let's proceed with the next property. So this is called the power formula. So that is x to the n dx is equal to x to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 plus c. If you try to remember, dun sa diffcal, di ba we are subtracting 1. So, nagsusubtract tayo ng 1 kapag kinukuha natin ang derivative ng x to the n. So, since reverse process, instead of subtracting, since reverse, mag-a-add naman tayo ng 1 ngayon. So there's a restriction na ang n should not be equal to negative 1. Why? Kasi if n is negative 1, isa-substitute natin dito, negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So it can never be 0 kasi magiging undefined yung sagot natin. So here's the example. So integral of x cubed dx. So this time, definite na tayo kasi meron na tayong limit. So anong gagawin natin? Kukunin muna natin ang integral ni x cubed dx. So anong gagamitin? So meron tayong x to the n dx. So gagamit tayo ng power formula. So that is x to the n plus 1 over n plus 1. So kapag nakuha na natin yung integral, lalagay natin yung lower limit at saka yung upper limit. So, ang gagawin natin ngayon is isa-substitute doon sa ating integral ang aking upper, then ima-minus ko naman pag sinubstitute ko na yung aking lower. So, this 3 plus 1 is 4. So, nilagay ko na siya sa labas. So, basically, ang ating magiging sagot dito is 1/4 x cubed. 1/4 x cubed from negative 2 to positive 2. So that's from negative 2 to positive 2. So equals 1/4 substituting upper. So that is 2 to the 4. Sorry, this is 4. 3 plus 1 pala to. So 3 plus 1. So this should be 4. So upper limit natin is 2. So 2 to the 4. Minus lower limit is negative 2 to the 4. So this is 0 because 2 to the 4 is 16. Negative 2 to the 4 is 16. 16 subtract from 16 is 0. So the answer there is 0. So for letter B, so this is dx over square root of x cubed. So using algebra lang, so this is equal to dx over square root of x cubed. Anong ginamit natin? So we all know na kapag we are dealing with uh, radicals, it is always associated with fractional exponent. So meron tayong principle that nth root of a to the m, that is equal to a raised to m over n. So kapag isi-simplify natin si dx over square root of x raised to the third power, pwede natin siyang i-write as integral of dx over x raised to, sorry, this should be n. Kasi n yun. So this is integral of dx over x raised to 3 halves. Nakita ko na kaagad kasi na kapag walang nakasulat, ang index natin ay 2. So nalagay ko kaagad kasi doon ay 2. So it should be n kasi general ang pinag-uusapan natin. So this is equal now to integral of x raised to negative 3 halves dx. Ang ginamit natin is another Lawson exponent that x raised to negative m is equal to 1 over a raised to m. So reversing the process, this is 1 over a raised to m. Pag inangat natin, magiging negative. So it is equal to x raised to negative 3 halves plus multiplied by dx. So pag in-integrate natin, that gives you u to the n or x to the n. So i-add lang natin siya, addan lang natin siya ng 1 over, i-add natin ng 1 yon. So that's x raised to negative 3 halves plus 1 over negative 3 halves plus 1 plus c. So what's negative 3 halves plus 1? So that's x raised to negative 1 half over negative 1 half plus c. So multiplying this numerator by the reciprocal of this denominator, that gives you negative 2x raised to negative 1 half. So para mawala yung ating negative exponent, ibababa ulit natin siya by using the same principle na ginawa natin. So finally, we have negative 2 over square root of x plus c. So that's number 2. So for number 3, basic property. So integral of k is a constant. Derivative of a function of x is equal to k. Ilalabas lang natin siya outside the integral sign. Derivative of f of x. So as if you remember sa derivative, ang constant din hindi isinasama sa differentiation kasi pwede natin siyang ilabas sa operator. And so with integral. So ilalabas lang natin si constant and i-integrate na natin yung nasa loob. So since integral and derivative cancels out, so that gives you kf of x plus c. So let's have examples. So integral of 5 dz. So ang gagawin, ilalabas lang natin yung 5. So it becomes 5 integral of dz. And integral and derivative cancels out gives you 5z plus c. So for letter B, we have 3y squared dy. So C3 ilalabas ulit, kaya it becomes 3 integral of y squared dy. So using the previous property, so that's x to the n, so where x is y here, so mag-add lang tayo ng 1 kay 2 at saka i-divide natin siya sa 2 plus 1. So using power formula, y is equal to 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 plus c. And that gives you y cubed plus c, since 2 plus 1 is 3, cancels out with that 3. How about 6 square root of z dz? So that is yung constant, ilalabas lang natin ulit, and that gives you square root of z dz. So since yung principle ulit natin kanina, si index 2, may exponent ako na 1, so square root of z is equal to z raised to 1 half. So 6 integral of z raised to 1 half dz. So gagamit ulit tayo ng power formula. So that's 0 raised to 1 half plus 1 over 1 half plus 1 plus c. So that gives you 0 raised to 3 halves because 1 half plus 1 is 3 halves over 3 halves. So multiplying this by the reciprocal of 3 halves is equal to 6 times 2 thirds 0 raised to 3 halves plus c. Or 4 is square root of z cubed because 6 cancels out with 3 gives you 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So that is the third property. So basically, ilalabas lang ulit si constant and then apply yung mga previous properties na natutunan. So fourth property. So integral of f of x plus or minus g of x plus or minus h of x plus or minus kung ilan yung terms na nandun, dx is equal to integral of sum. Integral of sum is the sum of their integrals. So let's have an example. So I have there integral of x squared minus x plus 5 dx. So ang gagawin natin, kukunin natin ang integral ng una, integral ng pangalawa, at integral ng pangatlo, and we will follow whatever the operation in between. So this gives you integral of x squared dx minus integral of x dx plus integral of 5 dx. So parang i-distribute mo lang yung integral at saka yung dx. That gives you integral of x squared dx. Next, integral and negative x. So that's why lalabas natin yung negative and then the dx. And then lastly, integral of positive 5 dx is integral of 5 dx. So ang gagawin natin kay 5 ay using the previous property, ilalabas lang natin siya ng operator. So magiging x raised to 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 minus x plus 1 plus 1 over 1 plus 1 plus 5x. So pag nilabas natin yung 5 dito, ang mangyayari, magiging 5 integral of dx, whose integral is simply x. So 5 times x is equal to 5x plus c. So therefore, our answer is 1/3 x cubed minus 1/2 x squared plus 5x plus c. How will I know if my answer is correct? So, ang gagawin ko lang, kati ko lang yung derivative. Ano bang derivative nito? So, ang derivative niyan ay 1/3. Derivative ni x cubed is 3x squared. Minus 1/2. Anong derivative ni x squared? That's 2x. Ang derivative ni 5x plus 5. Anong derivative ni c? 0. So this is x squared because 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1 plus 5. If the derivative of your answer matches your integrand there, you are therefore correct. Again, by definition, the function whose derivative is this integrand is your integral. So let's have another example. So what if I have integral of 2 minus 3x to the third power dx? So that is from 0 to 1. So meaning to say, ang ano natin is definite. So since to the third power yan, gagamit tayo ng binomial na na-erase to the third power. So gagamit tayo ng a minus b to the third. So this is review of algebra. Is simply equal to cube of the first minus thrice the product of the square of the first term multiplied by the second term plus thrice the product of the first and the square of the second minus cube of the second term. In this case, ito yung aking A minus 3x is my B. So that gives you integral from 0 to 1 of 2 cubed, that's your A cubed, minus thrice the square of the first term, a squared, multiplied by b, which is 3x, plus thrice the product of the first and the square of b, which is 3x raised to the second power, minus cube of the second term. So that's minus 3x to the third power dx. So simplifying that gives you 2 cube is 8, 2 to the second power is 4, times 3 times 3 is 36. Again, 2 to the second power is 4, times 3 is 12, times 3 is 36, multiplied by x is negative 36x since it is preceded by a negative. Plus 3 times 2, that's 6. So this is 3 to the second power, so that must be 9. And x to the second power is x squared. So therefore, that gives you 3 times 2 is 6 times 9 is 54x squared. Minus cube of 3x. So 3 cube is 27. X to the third power is x cubed. So that's why meron kang minus 27x cubed since it is preceded by a negative. So now, i-apply na natin yung rule number 3 or rule number 4 first. Paghihiwa-hiwalayin muna natin siya. So that gives you 8 is a constant. So that is 8 integral of dx. Constant si 36 and that must be put outside. Integral from 0 to 1 of x dx. 54 is also a constant and that must be put outside. Integral of x squared dx from 0 to 1. Minus 27 integral of x cubed from 0 to 1. So applying property 1, property 2, property 2, property 2 using power formula since si x ay may exponent na 1. So, integrating, integral of derivative cancels out. So that gives you x. That's from 0 to 1. Integral of x is x to the 1 plus 1 is x squared over 2 plus 54. X to the 2 plus 1 is x cubed over 3 from 0 to 1 minus 27. X to the 3 plus 1 is 4 over 4 from 0 to 1. So applying the limits, that is 8 times the quantity, upper limit 1 minus lower limit 0. 36 divided by 2 is 18. 1 is upper raised to the second power minus lower is 0 raised to the second power. 54 divided by 3 is 18. Upper limit is 1 to the third minus lower limit is 0 to the third. Minus 27 over 4. 1 is upper limit, 1 to the 4 minus 0 to the 4. So that gives you 5/4. So paano siya magiging 5/4? 1 minus 0 is 1 times 8 is 8. Minus 18 times 1, because 1 squared is 1, minus 0 is 1, times 18 is minus 18. Then plus 18, 1 cube is 1, minus 0 is 18. That's plus 18. Minus 1 to the 4th is 1, minus 0 is 1, times 27 over 4, preceded by a negative, is minus 27 over 4. That 18 negative and positive 18 cancels out. Then gets its LCD, that's 4. 8 has a 1 na denominator. 4 divided by the 8, divided by 1 is 4 times 8 is 32. 4 divided by 4 is 1 times negative 27 is negative 27. So 32 minus 27 is equal to 5/4.